Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Ben, and these are the 7 deadly sins
of bourbon.
Okay, so we have a very interesting challenge video today. A couple months ago, Brian and Deb over at Buffalo Bourbon Enthusiasts came up with this idea to do the 7 deadly sins of bourbon. And basically the idea is you take each one of the 7 deadly sins and then you apply either a category of bourbon that you have or a bottle that you have to that particular sin. So this is probably the most interesting challenge we've had yet. Thank you, Brian and Lauren over at Bourbon School, for challenging us. I know this has kind of been making the rounds, a little bit late getting to it, but you know, better late than never. So let's get into the list. I have my list down here so I don't forget. The first one is greed. And by the way, I think some of these are maybe open to interpretation as to how you go about doing them, but I'm gonna go with kind of what I gleaned from Brian and Deb's original video. So with greed, most expensive bottle you have. Interesting one for me because I don't have a ton of expensive bottles, but this is the one that costs the most. Bam, this is Wild Turkey Master's Keep Revival. I believe with tax it was $170, so it's not ridiculous, but it was like $155 or something pre-tax. Got this a couple years ago, so I've just been nursing this bottle. But back then especially, that was really a lot for me to spend on a bottle. I don't typically like spending that much anyway, but $100 isn't out of the ordinary these days. So yeah, this was my first really expensive bottle, and it still kind of remains the most expensive one on my shelf. So, okay, next one, lust. Interesting category for a bottle of bourbon. But what they went with is the sexiest bottle on your bar. So just strictly what's a really cool looking bottle that you have on the bar. So I'm gonna go with, bam, this is Sagamore Spirits Double Oak Rye. This could apply to any of the Sagamore Spirits bottles because all their bottles look like this. It applies to this one for me because I like the bottle, I don't like the whiskey inside. Send your hate mail to thebourbonnote@gmail.com. I know I'm the only one on the planet that doesn't like this whiskey, but yeah, so I just think this is a really cool bottle. Word to the wise, I do hear that these break easily if anything comes in contact with the kind of triangle shape that it has. Apparently they're not the strongest, so there's that. Okay, next category I don't actually have a bottle for because this is the envy category, and this is the one where you know, you don't have a bottle of it, but you know somebody who does. And so I've actually got a couple of friends that have got a bottle of George T. Stagg on the shelf. I'd love to get a hold of one of those one day. Been in a couple lotteries where those were available, but didn't win it. And 2 of my friends did. So that's my envy pick for sure. Next one is pride. And so this one is the one, I guess, that you're just most proud to have. At this point, I don't really have a ton of like rare, super rare stuff on the shelf. I've really been buying mostly stuff that's just kind of available to review on the channel and just different brands I want to explore. But I do have a couple of really good ones, and this one I absolutely love. Bam, this is Jack Daniel's Coy Hill. This is the 2021 release, 141.5 proof. If you've never had this, it's absolutely amazing. This is the only one of these I've had. It's a single barrel, but if you ever get the chance, you know, definitely grab yourself a pour of this. Grab yourself a bottle. Just don't pay secondary for it. Okay, so the next one is gluttony. And so this is the one that you have the most bottles of on your shelf. A lot of people are doing like ECBP and Larceny Barrel Proof. I have a bunch of those, as you can see back here. But I'm not including those because those are all different releases. So the one I did go with is, bam, Eagle Rare. This one is one that's really not available much in Minnesota, but it's one that whenever I see it, I do pick it up. I got a handful of them up there on the shelf. And by the way, that's not from me going into a store and buying them all out. Like 2 of those I got in Washington, and these are from all over the place. But this is one that I like to pick up whenever I get a chance because it's so rare for me to see one, but it's not as rare as, you know, some of the crazier bottles out there. So it is possible. Anytime I see this for under 50 bucks, I get it. I love Eagle Rare. I know, you know, some of my friends don't share that same opinion, but not only do I like it, but I think it's a great just 90 proofer that I can sit and have with somebody who's not terribly experienced with whiskey and not really into the super high proof stuff. They can enjoy it because it's a little lower proof, and I can still enjoy it because for a 90 proof bourbon, this thing's packed full of flavor. It also makes a great gift whiskey. It's not terribly expensive, and so when I usually have a few of them on the shelf, I'm totally fine parting with one of them as a gift. And it's just a good one to bring to like you know, a family get-together where there's a lot of people of varying levels of, you know, their interest in bourbon. Just a great utility bottle all around. So okay, so the next one is Wrath, and that is the one you're not gonna buy again. Had it, didn't like it, weren't impressed by it, didn't like the brand, whatever the deal is. This one I'm not buying again for sure. Bam. This is Chicken Cock. I've talked about this one recently a bit because we did a review of it not that long ago, and I've brought it up on a couple other lists, I think. This one used to be more expensive than it is now. I think this one seriously used to be like 60 to 70 bucks in my area. I think you can get it for like 50, 55 now maybe. I got this one for like 35 on sale, so I figured I'd try it. And this is the cheapest one that they offer. It's so profoundly underwhelming. I mean, there's so many like $20 bottles out there that drink better than this, in my opinion. It's not that it's bad or offensive. It just, at 90 proof, it should at least drink higher than it does. It comes across like an 80 proofer to me, to be perfectly honest. It's just very, very kind of watered down and blah. And then all their other products get super expensive from there. I was kind of interested in trying the double oak. I don't think that one's too bad, but they've got like crazy high expensive stuff. So based on this, I'm just overall definitely not gonna buy another bottle of this. Definitely not overall terribly interested in the brand. So I don't know, let me know what you've had from these guys, if you've had anything from them. Maybe I'm just, you know, like with this one, I'm just, you know, on my own with that opinion. So anyway, the last one is Sloth, and that refers to the one that you're just being a slowpoke about buying. It's like you go to the store, you see it, and every time you just don't do it. Find something else or whatever. And it may be a brand that you're interested in. For me, it's Barrel Craft Spirits. Barrel is one of those brands that I've liked everything I had from them. But they run a little expensive. And so at the $100 price point, there's usually another $100 bottle that I'm buying. And to be honest, I want to buy more of their bottles. That's why it fits perfectly into this category for me. I just kind of take it for granted that they're always there because, at least in Minnesota, I know of a lot of stores that carry a ton of their expressions. So it's just kind of one of those ones where it's like, yeah, I'll get around to it at some point. And I should, but yeah, I just haven't, I don't know, for whatever reason, that brand just with the price and how available it is, just hasn't convinced me yet, but I'm sure I'll get around to it soon. So anyway, that's my whole list. Thank you, Brian and Lauren, for the challenge. Thank you, Brian and Deb, for coming up with the list. This was kind of an interesting one to do, but definitely fun. So I'm going to call out some other channels that I want to see do this same list. And so I'm going to start out with 3 Minnesota channels. We're going to go with Rare Barrel, Whiskey House Pub House, and On the Barrel Whiskey. And then let's also get Less Cash, More Mash, Whiskey Wonder Woman, and the Bourbon Jerk involved. So if you guys see this video, I'd love to see your list. And if you guys want to comment and tell me how wrong I am for not liking this one or whatever it is, please do that. The comments help. Also, subscriptions help. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. This has been the 7 Deadly Sins of Bourbon on the Bourbon Note. I'm Ben. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.